every gamer knows the feeling of starting a new game, making some progress on it before getting distracted by the next new game. The intention to come back and finish it is always there, but we never do. And that is exactly the problem I've been having with the single player games lately. There hasn't been a game in a long time that managed to capture my attention with its rich characters and engaging story like God of War did. In fact, the last game that was able to make me feel this way was The Witcher 3. Here is my spoiler-free review of 2018's God of War. In God of War, you play as a Spartan warrior named Kratos, who is not a god despite the title. He used to be one, but that's a different video altogether. The game is set in Norse realm of Midgard, where Kratos now resides with his son Atreus. Kratos and Atreus plan to fulfill Faye's dying wish to have her ashes spread from the top of the highest peak in 9 realms. On this journey, you will travel through different biomes, meet new characters, solve puzzles, collect all kinds of materials which will allow you to upgrade your armor and equipment, and of course there's fighting, a lot of fighting. Which brings us on to combat and controls. Heavy attack, light attack. If you hold down any of those buttons, it will perform a different attack. There is Kratos' shield, there is parry, abilities to switch stances, a big variety of combos, and you can partially control Atreus to attack enemies and create some of the most intense fighting I've ever seen in a single player game. And that's just the beginning. You can slot different runes into your weapons, have different builds of your character, which will bring even more variety to the battlefield. And there is stuff I can't even talk about that happens later on in the game that opens an entirely new way of fighting. So controls are tight and the combat is one of the best I have seen. So combat is only one part of the gameplay, but there is also a world exploration which rewards the players every single time. Might it be a very rare item or some beautiful vistas. The game also encourages you to revisit some of the places via a nice gameplay loop that makes some areas only accessible later on in the game. The game has some verticality to it as well, where you'll find yourself scaling the walls or rocks. That reminds me of the modern Tomb Raider games where climbing is very well done. Talking about Tomb Raider, we all know the puzzles were really well done in that game, and the God of War is no different. I don't usually enjoy puzzles in my games, but my god, the puzzles are so good in this game. I never once found myself not enjoying them. They are always fresh, non-repetitive, and really well designed. For some of them, you'll be required to work with Atreus, which will add yet another layer of challenge. The story. The story in this game is, simply put, amazing. A very impactful story that is being told through the dialogue when traveling between different areas in the game rather than the long cutscenes. I mean, there is cutscenes, but not that many. You get to witness a very turbulent relationship between father and son. Kratos, by any means, is not a good dad, but he's trying to be one. Atreus is missing his mom, and that adds a further complexity to their relationship. This is definitely not a soppy story where everyone rides into the sunset at the end, and I love that. There is some occasional humor between them too as well, which will make you smile. Apart from evolution of the two main characters, there is also a story about their journey and the stuff that happens along the way. I feel like it's hard to describe a story without spoiling anything, so you'll have to take my word for it. Okay, let's briefly touch on the performance of this game. The game is a port from PlayStation, and it's a very good one, in fact. I have played the game 1440p and all the settings maxed out on the 3070 laptop GPU and a 12th gen i9 processor. And the game stayed at 60 FPS, only dropping to the high 50s in the bigger fights. If you are like me, who is not that big on the side quests and 100%ing the game, you will find yourself beating the game at around 19-hour mark, but it will take you double that if you want to do all the side quests and collectibles. God of War is never a dull moment, and the game keeps coming at you constantly. Partially open world feels like it's been crafted with love. Every nook and cranny, every corner of the world feels very well designed, and you can tell Santa Monica Studio poured their hearts in building this world. It doesn't feel like some other open world game that you just run around collecting bullshit. Every activity you undertake off the beaten path almost always feels like it's worth your effort. Story is captivating with a very strong characters and a jaw-dropping ending. Combat is a cherry on top of already amazing cake that is this game. Easy to fight starting out, you will soon find yourself performing combos, throwing axes, shooting bows, dodging enemies all at the same time. Some of the optional endgame enemies felt like I was fighting a Dark Souls boss, and that is a compliment to this title. The game released 6 years ago, and I have to say it aged really well. I thoroughly recommend you try this game. After all, this game has broken my unfinished game curse, and I strongly believe you won't be disappointed either. Stay down.